Hello, Professor. I'm going to continue with system and database requirements in the session. I have what I have put in here is the outlined requirements. I haven't gone in depth. I haven't mentioned any in depth requirements in this presentation. It's just an outlined requirements. So every node should have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Same version of operating system must be running across all nodes. For example, if there are when you when we make up a two node rack cluster, and when we install Unix operating system, whether if it is Red Hat or Solaris or anything like, so the version of the operating system must be same across all nodes. If the version for if I'm going with Oracle Enterprise Linux 7, the other node must also have Oracle Enterprise Linux 7. I have already prepared my rack environment in here. So my DNS and DHCP server is already running. Storage is also running, and I have two nodes in here. So let me just check if the versions on node 1 and node 2 are same. It is Oracle Enterprise Linux 5. So even so both the nodes are running on the same version of the operating system. It's version 5. So before, when it comes to rack cluster, before turning on individual nodes, it is important to turn on DNS DHCP and then storage, and then only we should turn on the number of nodes that we have in the cluster. So without turning on DNS and DHCP, and when we just turn up node 1 and node 2, and then when we start up DNS DHCP, then uh, the network part is not going to work. So both node 1 and node 2 will not get the IPs from DNS and DHCP. So they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other when DNS server is not started first. So it has to go in a series of in a series. First, DNS should start up, and then storage, and then whatever nodes that are in a cluster. Okay. Now let me just try pinging node 1 and node 2. The name that I gave here is host 02 for node 2 and host 01 for node 1. It's pinging. So there is communication between node 1 and node 2. Let me turn on the other node as well. So I had mentioned that each node should have 8 gigabits of RAM, but for demo purpose, I'm not gonna give 8 gigabits of I'm not gonna allocate 8 gigabytes of RAM for all the nodes that are available on a cluster. I mean, I'm using three nodes, and for each node, I'm gonna allocate around 3 GB because of system constraints. I don't have 36 GB of RAM in my laptop, so for demo purposes, this is gonna work fine. But when it comes to real time, we at least need to allocate 8 GB of RAM. So let it start. As mentioned, same version of operating system must be running across all nodes. Yes, that's true. Two network interface cards per node has to be there. Yes, that's true. Public and private IP defend on different subnet ranges. Yes. So in order to prepare for the rack environment, I have used this particular link to prepare my nodes to it's a I mean pre-installation steps. I have made use of this particular link to do it. I think this link is available right here. Okay. So this is the link that I made use of when I prepared my notes. So I'm logging into node 3 as root. Password is 0 or ACLE. So now that I'm gonna try pinging host 1 from here to check if it is connected. Yes. Now let's try pinging host 02. This works. So all three nodes on my cluster are running on Enterprise Linux version 5. So I can go ahead with preparing my nodes for the installation. So I just wanted to like I already um, mentioned about the. Okay, let me go ahead with this, and I'll come back with an explanation for SSH later. So now that I'm using SSH to connect to host 02 from my node 1, it is asking for root password. The password is Oracle. No, but it's 0 or ACLE. 0 or ACLE. Yep. Now that I'm logged into host 02, I'm doing this because I wanted to prepare all my nodes at once. I do not want to go switch to this particular node again. I don't want to go to this particular node and uh, do the preparation. So I want to do all of them at once, one place. So I'm doing that's why I have chosen this way. Okay, now I'm connected to host 03, host 02, okay, and host 01. I have the installation steps in here. I have put it in a text file in here. So all that I have to do is to just copy paste to prepare my notes for installation of RAC. So the first step is to create the groups and users and to set password for Oracle and grid user. So whatever that I do, I have to do it across all the nodes. So first I'm starting with node 1. So I'm going to set a password for Oracle, for user Oracle, ORACLE. The password is also Oracle. Now that I have to set the password for grid. So now that I have to go and do it across all the nodes. This time it is not 0, it is pure Oracle. I'm setting a very simple password so that I keep it in mind all the time. So I don't have to worry about the password at all. Yes. So I did the first step across all the nodes. Now moving on to second step, I had to create several folders, and I have to do it only from the root user. Yep, I have logged in as root. So I have to do the same in host 02, which is my node 2. And finally in host 03. Moving on to step 3. Now that I have to make some modification to the kernel parameters. So I have taken all the values from the link that I had shown a couple of minutes back. So I'm starting it with node 1. I'm modifying the kernel parameters with this, yes. So I'm setting kernel.shmal is equal to this, and I'm appending all the values to etc sysctl.conf. So all the lines that where all the lines are making some modification to the kernel parameters, and it is getting appended to etc sysctl.conf file. Now that I have to go and do it in host 02 and in host 03. So now that I have come to host 01, so what do I have to do is to cross check whether if all the kernel parameters are set right. So the command to do it is sysctl space -p. So now that it is going to show the kernel parameter, is going to list out the kernel parameters, and we can cross check if the values are set properly. And yes, it is. So I can go ahead and check across all nodes. So just fun, I'm just checking the first parameter whether if it is set right. Kernel.shmal, it is 2097.152. Kernel.shmal, it is 2097.152. Yes, it is set. So I'm moving on to the other step now. Moving on to the next step. So now that I wanted to configure ASM for uh, ASM on all the nodes, because I have planned to install Oracle RAC on top of ASM. So I'm in node 1. I wanted to do it in sequence. I have to first start with node 1 and then go to node 2 and then go to node 3 and do it. So paste it, yes. Oracle ASM configure -i. So I have already created the grid user. So I want grid user to control this. So I want this to be assigned to ASM admin group. Start Oracle ASM library drive on boot, yes. Scan for Oracle ASM disks on boot, yes. Yep, it is done. So now that I'm going to go ahead and create disks, these drives are from the storage device. SDB1, DB2, DB3, all these are from storage drive. I'm not covering how to configure DNS or how to configure storage in this like in this presentation. But I have put in the installation install.txt file like how I did here in DNS and storage service as well. So if we wanted to go ahead and check how it is configured, the steps are mentioned in the install.txt file on both servers. So this command is to scan the available disk, and this command is to list the disks that are available. Oh, see. Okay. The thing is, I have to do one more thing before listing disks. Exit and Oracle ASM int. Let's see what it says. Yeah, it says mounting ASM library driver file system. Okay. Now that I have to go ahead and type Oracle ASM scan disks. Now, if I say list disks, it has to list. Uh, Initially, why it did not display the list disks was I had in here when I created the disks, I did not initiate Oracle ASM. So as soon as I gave the default user and as soon as I declared the user and the group, I haven't initiated the Oracle ASM and I went ahead and directly started creating disks like how I did here. So that is why it did not show up in here. When I gave list disk commands, when I scanned, okay, when I gave list disk command, it did not work. But now that I initiated ASM and I created the disks again in here, like here, yes, I initiated it and created the disks, and yep. Now when I scan disks, And when I list disk, it is listing the disk that I had created. Yes. So now that I have to do the same in host 02 and host 03, other than except this particular part alone, I don't have to do this because it just has to be created once, and it can be created from anywhere. So now that I'm going to configure ASM here, so default owner in here is grid, and group is ASMADMIN. Yes, I want ASM library to driver to start on boot. Yes, yes. So I don't have to go ahead and create all this disk. All I have to do is to initiate it. Just RACLE ASM INIT. So it says mounting ASM library driver file system. So now let's see whether if it is going to list the disks that are created. Okay, see the thing is, it is instantiating all the disks that are created. That looks nice. Yes, I just wanted to go check whether if there was 15 disks in here. No, there are only 14. Okay, I thought there were 15. So now I'm gonna list the disk. It is listing. I have to go do the same in host 03. Default user is grid. Yes, yes. So I have to do the same steps in here. I have to just I have to just trigger the initiation process of ASM. I don't have to create all the disks. All I have to do is to scan and list it. So when I scan, it is gonna go check, and yes, it's scanning all the disks, and it has detected it. That is why it is displaying in here. All the disks that are listed in here are being recognized by this particular host also. Yes. So moving on to the next step. It's now time to configure RAC. So in order to install RAC, I need to switch it to grid user. So you can see that the user has changed in here. So I just wanted to check. Okay. Okay, fine. So I'm just navigating to the folder where grid software is placed. And run installer file is placed in here. So I'm just gonna trigger it. I wanted to run this from here. /. Run. Yes. So I wanted to install and configure Oracle Grid infrastructure for a cluster. So I'm going to go ahead with this particular option. I don't want to install and configure it on for a standalone server, or I don't want to. I'm not going to upgrade my grid infrastructure because this is the first time that I'm installing. But I have planned to do so for my own learning. That is why I have. That is why I'm using Oracle 11G version of Grid, and I wanted to try upgrading it to 12C version. And I'm not going to do just this install grid infrastructure software only. I don't know why it is taking this long. It shouldn't. Yep. And I'm going to go with advanced installation. Okay. Product language is English. Okay, fine. I'm good with it. So when it comes to naming cluster, I have also mentioned what to do in here. Yes. The cluster name is cluster 01. So all these are, I have already prepared it already. And when it comes to scan IP, scan name, what do we have to do is to, now that it is just showing cluster 01, the cluster name dot scan dot host dot example dot com. Okay. So, but it will change when I change the JNS domain. I'm gonna configure my RAC environment with JNS. I don't want to go without JNS. I just want to try and see how it works. So when I give this, like when I'm changing the JNS subdomain, the scan name will also change now. Yes, it is. So JNS VIP address is also listed in here. Everything is an install.txt file. Okay. I'm not going to discuss uh, how these are declared in here. I mean the network IPs, how these are declared. Everything is in. I have put in everything in DNS server. There will be an install.txt file where I had mentioned how did I configure IPs and how did I configure network for the cluster. And I have copied the address that I wanted to put it for GNS, and that is the IP address, and that is 192.1.9.2.1.180. So I'm gonna click next now. Okay, it is by default it is listing my current host. Now that I wanted to add other hosts as well. My other host name is host02.example.com. So since Jane, I have chosen JNS, virtual IP name is shown as auto, which means that IPs will be allocated automatically, and I don't have to go declare VIPs everywhere. This is wrong. Example.com. Let me just okay. I need to add one more because there are 3 nodes. 03 dot, what is it? Example.com. Example.com. Okay. So I just wanted to go check if SSH works fine. Test it. Okay. Mm, test. My God. Okay. Okay. Now let's just test. Mm-hmm. Yes. Just want to test here. Okay. I think I have to first set up and then do the test part. 03 dot. This is fine. Okay. The password for grid is ORACLE Oracle. Let's see if it works. Yes. Successfully established passwordless SSH connectivity between the selected nodes. That sounds good. Test. Now it says it is successful. I mean, yes. So as of now, I'm gonna remove the third node because as a part of my independent study deliverable, I wanted to apart from configuring Oracle RAC environment and installing databases, I wanted to do one real time real environmental event, or whatever you call it. So I just wanted to remove this as of now, and I'll go ahead with two nodes, and I'll configure Oracle RAC environment for those two nodes, and finally once everything is set up, I'll add the third node and I'll delete the third node, just for it is for it is mentioned as a part of my independent study deliverable. Yes. So I'm gonna just remove the third node alone. Okay. Yes. I don't. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go ahead. So this is my first network interface, and this is the second one. First one it is pointing to public, and the second one it is pointing to private. I am good with this. So I wanted to go with automatic storage management, or ASM. That is why I had configured the disk for ASM. I don't want to go with shared file system. Mm-mm. Okay, hold on. The disk group name must be plus data. Okay. Okay, it's gone. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just randomly choosing the number of disks that are going to be allocated for a disk group data, and I'm going to choose the normal redundancy. Redundancy in the sense it is going to take a extra copy of every block that I put into here. External in the sense it will go with OS redundancy. So it goes with OS rate. I have to. Uh, it is not a Oracle is not gonna take care of the redundancy if I go with external. If it is high, if it is normal, one copy will be made, and if it is high, two copies will be made. That's the only difference. I have chosen 4 disks as of now. I'm going to move ahead. So I'm just gonna give. I'm going with same password rather than setting different passwords as of now because this is only for a testing purpose. So the password that I have given in here is Oracle underscore for you. I'll mention it in the submission file. Okay. I don't know what is this. I'm just gonna go with the IPMI. Yeah. Okay. This part. This is like. I think I have heard of this when in Exadata, but I don't know what is this gonna do with the rack. But I'm not gonna go ahead with the first part with IPMI. I'm going to go with do not use it. I'm happy with whatever the groups that are displayed in here. OSDBA, ASMDBA, okay, OS Hopper, ASM Hopper. Okay, I don't have to disturb this. I'm okay with this. I'm home. Okay, this is where the inventory is gonna be placed. I'm gonna go ahead with prerequisite checks and let's see what happens. So the prerequisites are passed. So as of now, it is pointing only to one remote node host 02. CNS VIP is displayed. Cluster scan name is displayed. Scan port. Public 2 network interfaces are displayed. Okay. I'm moving ahead with the installation. So I think it's going to take more than 20 to 30 minutes. Not sure though, so I'm going to pause the video here and we'll continue once it is done. I thought it's going to take too long, but it's running really fast. It's not even more than 2 minutes since I said I'll pause the recording, but it has 65% is done now. That's a good progress. So 100% is done, but not yet. Now that I have to execute road scripts for uh, for installing grid infrastructure for a cluster. Okay, these are the two scripts. I have to execute it on both the nodes. Open a terminal window, login as root, run the scripts on each cluster node, return to this window and click OK to continue. Run the script on the local node first. Okay, which means I have to install both the scripts on the node that I'm running this particular software. So as of now, I'm in node 1, which means that I have to run these nodes, I mean these two scripts on node 1. Let me do that. And I have to do it as root user as well. Okay. File, open tab. Okay, now that I am a root user. So this is the first script that I have to run. Okay, let me run it. Execution of the script is complete so fast. Okay. So now that I'm running both the scripts on the same node. First script is complete. I'm going to run the second script now. I don't have any problems with the spin directory. Let it be the default one. Okay. Okay, it's adding something to init tab, etc/init tab. Oh, JSD is starting. That seems good. Attempting to start aura.jip cd mdnsd. Okay. I have discussed about all these processes in Oracle process structure right in here. Where is it here? So we just saw CCSD monitor. Oh my God, where am I going? CCSD monitor, it is right here. So I think now it is attempting to stop everything. I don't know whether if it is trying, I think. Maybe it is starting and stopping services. Yeah, it is starting here. .4.gp and pd on host 1 succeeded. I think I'm burning my system. Let me turn off node 3. Temporarily, I'll turn it off. Okay, let me suspend test. This is event management daemon. CRST cluster ready services daemon. This is the time synchronization daemon. CTSST. So it is successful on node 1. So let's just go ahead and do the same in node 2. So what I have to do is to first copy the script, go to host02 and run it. So now that I'm going to execute the second script in host02 as a root user. I'm good with the location for local bin directory. So far, so good. So Oracle High Availability Service daemon is starting. Okay, it says update node list was successful. So all that I have to do is to go back here and click OK. That is what it says. Run the script on the local node first. After successful completion, you can run the script in parallel or on all nodes. So I just have only one node. So one parallel node. So I have now executed both these scripts in node 1 and node 2. Now that I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Let's see what happens in here. Pending. It's still not done. Okay. Mhm. Succeeded. Good so far. Mm-mm. Yes. The installation of Oracle Grid infrastructure for a cluster was successful. So happy. Okay, let's see some. So let me first set the environment. Mm-mm. Wait a minute. What's wrong here? .env. Okay, dot space, I think. So it is plus ASM1. So this command is to uh, check the available clusters. So it is now listing two hosts. There are two hosts in the cluster as of now. I have not added host 03. Sounds good. It is showing, it is listing both the hosts that are added to a cluster. So CRS is online. Okay. CTSST is online. EVMD is also online. Event management daemon. Okay, now that I have to go ahead and check if the same is happening in, if it is going to say the same in host 02. I think it is plus ASM2. Yeah, that's right. Mhm. So again, even in host 02, it is listing, it is accurately listing host 01, 02, which are in cluster, and it says everything is online. So setting up a rack environment is done as of now. So adding to this, I'll implement one real world scenario of adding a node to a cluster and deleting it from the cluster after adding. I'll do this in a different presentation, and that's it as of now, Professor. Thanks.